Hello, hello. Yeah, fine, fine. Okay. Yeah. Science and tech current affairs. This is the first topic. Okay. So there are we have to cover mainly India AI impact. Okay. India AI Impact Summit. That is our main topic, and in that we have many subtopics. Other than that, there are two main topics that we have to cover. One is this black boxes, and the other is HPV virus, because the government has started rolling out vaccines for it. Okay, now, so first is this black boxes and air crash investigation. Now, recently after the Ahmedabad plane crash also, and recently after the plane crash of, yes, Ajit Pawar, you must have heard of it. Now, what is this? How it works? Just very basic we have to see. So, after the recent air crash in Maharashtra, both recorders were recovered. Now, basically, understand this. So what you see here, there are two components like this. One is flight recorder, okay, and the other is called cockpit voice recorder. Okay, now these are the two main components. Now, what happens? Of course, this is much. This is very heavy, so it will. If let's say, can you come forward, everyone? इधर ही बैठ जाओ उधर. माइक में डिस्टॉर्शन नहीं जाता है, बट सुनाई नहीं देता. Yeah. And flight recorder. Okay, now see. See, let's say there is some crash or anything like this. Now, what will happen? Let's say, so basically, these are made up of some materials that can withstand any kind of heat. It can even be inside the sea for many, many hours, and it will still keep on releasing signals, so that it is identified that where these might be located. Now, see this. So, after the recent air crash, these have been discovered. Now, right now investigation is going on to decode what is the flight data and cockpit recordings. Now, black boxes are the most reliable evidence source in crash investigations. So understand, air crashes are very uncommon thing. But the thing is that whenever you have an air crash, actually nobody survives to tell you what happened, what might be the issues. Nobody remains, correct? So that is why it becomes important that you are somehow able to analyze why such a crash happened. That's why all these aircrafts that you see, starting from helicopters to airplanes to fighter jets, all will have black boxes. Now, what is a black box? See, so it is not a single device, it has two recorders. One is digital flight data recorder, okay, and the other is cockpit voice recorder. Okay, we'll see what are they. Now, this is mandated under International Civil Aviation Organization safety norms. Now, painted bright orange for visibility. So this can be used to make a trick question, that this is actually orange in color. It is called black box because you don't know anything about it. Until and unless you open the box, you don't have any information. That's why it is called black box. Otherwise, as you saw, it is orange in color. Okay, saw the first picture, it is orange in color. Now, let's see bit of details about them. So basically this is digital flight data recorder. This records altitude, speed, engine, performance, autopilot status, 1000 plus parameters. So basically everything about the flight, at which altitude it was going, was it a speed related error, how the engines were performing. So there are 2-3 engines in a aircraft. Then autopilot status, what's the autopilot on, or he eventually when it crashed it was in the manual mode. So all that they analyze, 1000 plus parameters. Then you have something called cockpit voice recorder. So what happens inside the cockpit where you have pilot, you will have different sounds being generated. It may be between the co-pilot and the main pilot. They'll be talking something, they'll be saying something. They may be getting different sirens causing different alarms for different issues that are being caused. So all that gets recorded in this voice recorder. So records pilot conversations, air traffic control instructions, ATCs and alarms. Almost 2 hours audio it records before the crash, before it stops. So this is what cockpit voice recorder does. So these are the two main components. Now it is built to withstand approximately 3400 G impact. Then even at 1100 degrees Celsius fire it will survive. Then deep sea pressure, that is around till 6000 meter, if it goes down, then also it will be able to survive that pressure. You understand, when you go inside the sea the pressure increases, so that it will survive. Equipped with underwater locator beacon that will give signals for 30 days. So it will keep on blipping or making sounds, sending signals for almost 30 days so that this can be recovered. It does not float. It cannot float because it is so heavy. So of course it will go, if it crashes on the sea, it will sink. But because it is releasing signal for 30 days, it is easily located. Then these two things mainly. So basically it will tell that at the time of crash or just before the crash, what was the speed, what was the altitude. So they have calculations for everything, that if the flight was going at this speed in this region, it should have had this much speed, the engine should have been performing like this. So they have the correct parameters, and then they will analyze it with the data that they get from here to identify where the error was caused. Okay. Then how is the investigation conducted in India? Now one thing is that you might have seen in media a lot. So what media keeps claiming, that we have sent the black box data to some foreign countries for the analysis. Okay, government has repeatedly rejected this, that we are doing it ourselves. Okay, now so led by Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, this is the authority that does this in India. Now follows International Civil Aviation Organization's guidelines or protocols. Then data synchronized with radar and air traffic control logs. So basically apart from the black box data, you also have the radar data, ATC or the ground stations, which are directly in communication with the flight. So basically they will synchronize all this data. India now has domestic DFDR and CVR decoding capability under AAIB. So both of these now we are able to decode, and in complex cases foreign technical assistance may be sought. So what happens sometimes, if the crash is too harsh or somehow those whatever you recovered out of the black box is not in a very good condition and they are not able to analyze, then they will start taking help from foreign entities. Now this you understand. So basically this is to improve aviation safety, not assign criminal liability. Okay, so basically what you will see in most of the crashes, eventually they will call that the pilot did something wrong, because of this the crash happened. Okay, this happens worldwide because of course Airbus or Boeing won't be taking the responsibility. It's a many billion dollar industry. Okay, so usually it will come on the pilot, but it is not a criminal liability. It's not that they will criminally charge the pilot if he survives or whatever, nothing like this. This is just to understand why a crash might happen. Then this is it. Then we come to HPV vaccination drive. What is HPV? Yes, human papilloma virus. So what has happened? We'll understand this. First you understand what is the news. So government just, I think yesterday or day before yesterday. So basically government has launched free nationwide HPV vaccination drive. So government has said that we'll be doing HPV vaccinations. Now the target group is 14-year-old girls. Okay, how they have arrived at 14-year-old? Because this is the time. So basically for any vaccination, you want to give this to, administer this to people before any interaction with the virus. Okay, or before they are exposed to the virus. So that's why they are administering it to 14-year-old girls. Now HPV, why only girls? So HPV, human papilloma virus, is a major cause of something called cervical cancer. Now cervix is of course found in women only. That's why it is specifically targeting these 14-year-old girls. Now objective is to prevent cervical cancer before exposure to HPV. Then vaccination procurement is supported by a partnership with Gavi to ensure affordable and stable supply. So this is a international consortium. We'll see about it. The last question is about Gavi only. Okay. Now first let's understand what is HPV virus, what diseases it causes, and all that. Okay. Now see, first of all, how can you get HPV virus? Now HPV virus is not that very uncommon. Okay, so it is commonly found. Most people will have interaction with HPV virus sometime in their life. But the thing is, most of the time your immune system is able enough to fight it off. So within a year or two, you will just fight it off and it will go away. But if it stays for a longer time in your body, then it can start creating issues. So if it stays for much longer, then only it will cause issues. Now, how it can be spread? So one is through the sexual route and the other is through touch also. So basically that's why it is said that this is spread by skin to skin contact. Okay, most common way of transmission is the sexual route. Now, so basically there are different strains of this. So HPV is a very common type of virus. It has over 100 types, many strains. Now out of this, 16 and 18 are the ones that causes major diseases. So HPV strains 16 or 18 are responsible for 70% of cervical cancer cases and a strong proportion of cancers of other varieties. Okay, then high risk HPV strains. So there are two more strains. Now mainly the vaccination covers these two, that is 16 and 18, and this only causes 70% of the cervical cancer. Now this is responsible for 30% of cervical cancer. What is cervix, by the way? What is cervix? So basically the lower part of the uterus, this is called cervix. Okay, so what happens over time it grows here, and then it can eventually lead to some abnormal growth of cells, and this is called cancer or cervical cancer. Now, so this is this. Now there are other strains also which are low risk, so they will cause some kind of small cyst and all, and it will go away, nothing much. Now see how it works. So basically what happens, let's say there is some infection by HPV virus. Now there are infected basal cells. After weeks what will happen, there will be viral replication. Then after viral replication, this will be formed in the cells. So basically this virus enters the cell, but it does not affect you immediately. As I told you, your immune system is able to find it within 1 or 2 years and it is gone. But sometimes it may stay in your body for 10 to 30 years, for many years. Now what will happen? All this, now HPV DNA starts getting integrated into the tumor cell DNA. So now this virus slowly will start integrating its DNA into the cells of your body, and eventually some of the only 0.8% will develop into cancerous cells. And this is the time when a person will start having something called cervical cancer. But so this is about the disease and how it is caused. Now the good thing is that the vaccine that we have for this cervical cancer is very effective. Okay, so it is said that if it is administered to girl child before like 14 years or till 14 years, then it has almost 100% efficacy. Okay, so very high efficacy, not like COVID vaccine ki le liya fir bhi hui ja raha hai. Okay, now yeah, so this we had seen. Now what is cervical cancer? So cervical cancer is uncontrollable growth of cells in the cervix, that is the lower part of uterus. Nearly all cases caused by HPV. I have written here nearly because there are also some other ways how you can have cervical cancer, but almost all of them are HPV virus. Then it develops slowly through precancerous cell changes and hence largely preventable because it is growing so slowly, as you saw, 10 to 30 years, many years. So that's why it is preventable. Then one statement that can be made. So basically men cannot have cervical cancer because of course they don't have cervix. But it can still through any kind of touch or activity, it can still be transferred to men. So basically man can carry HPV virus and it can cause some other kinds of cancer in them, but not exactly cervical cancer. Okay, one thing more I have told in classes also, that cervical cancer only happens in females because only female has cervix, but breast cancer happens in both of them, men and women. Okay, men is rare. Okay, state PSC have asked questions on these two cancers only many times, just this one line that you need to know. Then what is HPV and how does it cause cancer? So HPV is a very common virus transmitted through close contact. Now most infections clear nearly within 1 and 2 years. Persistent infections with high risk types, especially HPV 16 and 18, can cause the viral DNA interferes with the host cell DNA, abnormal cell growth. If untreated, then you will have cervical cancer. Understood? Same route as the virus follows. All other viruses most viruses follow similar route. Then which vaccine will be administered? Now, so there is one called Cervavac. Okay, this is indigenously developed vaccine, but it is multiple doses right now and it does not have the WHO approval. So that's why the drive that we are having right now, we are using this company's vaccines. This is Gardasil. This is a foreign company. They have made a quadrivalent HPV vaccine. Now, this is recombinant protein subunit vaccine. If you have not learned types of vaccines, it's fine. Subunit vaccines, you remember? Huh? Subunit vaccine. So basically, you are taking just a part of it, correct? Antigenic part of it, and that works. Okay. Now, contains virus-like particles, VLPs, made from HPV. Now, contains no viral DNA. Okay. So basically, it has the subunit or that part of the virus that can generate response. So ultimately, how vaccines work? In vaccines, what happens? You enter some part of the virus. In most cases, some part that is antigenic or can generate a response. Now, based on this, your body starts producing antibodies. And when the next time, apart from antibodies, it also generates memory, so that it understands the next time the virus comes, how it has to fight, everything it memorizes. Next time when the real infection comes, then you are able to fight it. Okay, so this is how vaccines work. Now, contains, this is fine, protects against HPV 6, 11, 16 and 18. These are the 4 that it is protecting you against. Now, this is a single dose vaccine. This is indigenous. This is by Serum Institute. But it is yet to get approval of WHO approval, and this is not single dose as yet. But the government plans that after this drive, maybe after a few years, when this is developed, then we'll start using this, because this is indigenous and much lower cost. Then oh, okay. So what about India's indigenous? So this is Servavac, developed by Serum Institute of India, is a quadrivalent HPV vaccine. Also a recombinant protein. So vaccine type is similar, not part of the current national rollout. May be integrated in the future procurement plans. Okay, same thing. Then, yeah, what is the policy? So basically, Gavi, this is Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, supports vaccine access in lower and middle income countries. So what it does, it provides you a proper, like for example, one thing that India was saying why we cannot take Servavac, first it is multiple doses, and one more thing is that if we want to have a vaccination drive, we would want to procure, let's say 2.5, 2.4 or 2.5 crore we are importing in one go. Now that cannot be prepared by them instantly by Serum Institute. So Gavi ensures what? That you get regular till whatever time period you want, and sufficient supply of vaccines. Then aligns with WHO's 2030 cervical cancer elimination targets. So this is called, sometimes called 90-70-90. Okay, 90-70-90. This is for cervical cancer. 90% girls should be vaccinated by age of 15, 70% screened and 90% treated. Okay, then generic things that this shifts from treatment based medicine to prevention based medicine, and it puts women centric public health reform. Okay, this you try to remember. 90-70-90. Sometimes they ask term based questions. So 90-70-90 is related to what? Okay, then this is India AI Impact Summit. Okay, must have seen this picture. This got viral also. Okay, Modi ji took hands of everybody, and these two people, as you can see here, they're not holding hands. Why they're not holding hands? Huh? Yeah, so basically they are competitors. This is Anthropic, CEO of Anthropic, that makes cloud, and this is Sam Altman. This is CEO of ChatGPT OpenAI. Okay, so basically both of them are competitors, so they didn't hold hand, and this also became viral. And then Sam Altman also gave an interview after this, that he didn't know why his hands was raised like this, because this is an Indian thing, na, that we do like this. Okay, this is not very common, especially in the same genders. Nobody does it. Then, so this is India AI Impact Summit. Okay, so in your whatever document you have and the topics that were allocated, there were 2-3 things from the India AI Impact Summit. So I have just made this, and it covers all the major things that happened from our perspective in India AI Impact Summit. Now, not the controversial ones, the one that can be asked now. So first thing, the India AI Impact Summit 2026 recently concluded at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. Okay, then this mega event marked a major turning point for India's technological future. Instead of just talking about AI ideas, the focus shifted to building real working systems for the public. Okay, then the summit highlighted, so main things was made in India AI models. Okay, one of which we saw also, Servam AI we saw. Then massive investment in computing power. So all these entities, Amazon, Google, you will see they have promised to invest a lot of money in India. Okay, then, and India's leadership in setting global AI rules. Now we'll understand the major key or major showcases and key takeaways. Now, first, first, this is indigenous foundational models and core infrastructure. Now, see, just name slightly, you try to remember what they are doing and the name. Okay, they may be asked these names. So basically, voice era. Now, what is this? This is an open source. What is open source? Anybody can use the code. Yeah, so basically, code is publicly available. Code being available publicly. Okay, then. So an open source multilingual voice AI stack integrated with the Bhashini network. Now, what it does, functions as a national digital public infrastructure for real-time speech translation and automated citizen service delivery. So basically what this will act as, so it will understand all the different languages and it can do speech translation in the real time. Okay, this is voice era. Then this is Servam. This is Servam AI Sovereign Hub. Now, showcased highly optimized foundational models, a 30 billion and a 105 billion parameter model. What is this 30 billion, 105 billion parameter model? So like in our human brains, we have neurons. Okay, now if you have more neurons or much better connections, then you can analyze everything much better. So similarly, these are the parameters how we measure the capability of an artificial intelligence system. So basically it is trained on 30 billion or 105 parameter model. Now to give you a context, the initial ChatGPT that came, ChatGPT 3 and 3.5 was around 120 billion parameters. Now it is around 1.8 trillion parameters. The current version of ChatGPT that you use. Okay, so this is because we are starting up, so this is much less right now, but it is providing better results in the India benchmarks that we understood. Otherwise, this is a foundational model. Why we are developing a foundation? What is the difference between a foundational model and a specialized model? Yeah, so foundational model can basically do everything. Okay, this is limited. This 30 billion, 105 billion is still less, but it can do very different tasks. Like it can answer you whatever questions you ask. Whatever you do with ChatGPT, it can also do. Okay, may not be that well right now, but in a few years it will catch up. Correct. So this is foundational model. Then there are specialized model that do very specific thing. For example, document AI will only deal with documents. For example, Google has also developed AIs that can deep mind, that can open protein and understand the protein structure. So that is related to, so those are specialized AI. This is talking about foundational models. Then introduce the advanced Bulbul V3 text to speech. If you remember, we saw this, and unveiled Servam case. Servam case is that goggle that, yeah. So basically that specs that Modiji was wearing. So basically this is to process real-time visual and auditory data in Indian languages. Okay. Similar technology is being used by AIMS and certain partners also. Not directly from the AI Summit. This is being used to help the visually impaired people. So what it does, for example, see, everything visually impaired people do is by some kind of touch or sound. So basically what it does, let's say that person who is completely visually impaired, he wears these glasses and goes around the town Then everything that is in front of him, like a camera, it will tell that there is a signal in front of you at this much distance. So he can hear it. So constantly he is hearing about the entire world being described to him instead of depending on other people. Okay, so this also AI can do. Now, of course, similar camera real-time conversion from what you are seeing in camera to a language and then giving it in his ear in real time is something that only artificial intelligence has made it possible. Otherwise, it was not possible that you are seeing something, recording, and then it is getting converted into written text. That written text is being spoken in a particular language in a way that the person can hear and understand. If there is delay here, then it can lead to some issues, correct? It can lead to accidents. So now AI has reached that level that it can do all of this. Okay. Then, so this proposed a 20,000 crore sovereign AI developmental hub in Odisha. Then, so this is about Servam AI. So Servam AI, please don't get confused. This is a company from, this is a private company. Okay, but it has got around 250 crore, 265 crore grant from the government under India AI mission. But this is not some public sector initiative. Okay, then state backed foundational models. This is state backed directly. So state backed होगा तो कौन करेगा? हाँ, what do you think? Who will do? Government. Who will do in the government? Like when will you call it? Of course, huh? Chief ministers. Yeah, but they must have some people now who have technical knowledge. Who will do this? Not the government employees that are working. Okay. Yeah, so basically Center of Excellence is CDAC and IITs. So when we are talking about public or state funded, you also include public institutions in it, which is the IITs, ISC and all these. Okay, so basically government funding for indigenous AI models via public-private partnerships to reduce reliance on foreign datasets. Okay, so this is what they are trying to do. They will involve the private sector also. Eventually, what we want is this. Okay, then Bharat Gen. This is a 17 billion parameter open source model built specifically for secure public governance. This is by the help of, as far as I remember, IIT Bombay. Then VoiceOS, a specialized voice-to-voice model optimized for complex code mixed Indian languages. Voice-to-voice conversion. Okay. So this is state-backed foundational models that also was talked about. Just these two names at least you can remember, Bharat Gen and VoiceOS. Then next is sovereign compute and capital expenditure. Data is not very important. 1, 2 data if you can remember, that's fine. So basically now the government has said that we need immediate integration of 20,000 GPUs for domestic startups targeting 100,000 active GPUs by year end. Now understand, so what is happening right now, we are developing indigenous models and all. Now for that also you need GPUs. GPUs, you understand, graphic processing units. So GPUs similar to CPUs, but it will have much higher capability of much higher computational ability. Now, so this is graphic processing unit. Now, so basically artificial intelligence is completely run by GPUs, not CPUs. CPU is the normal one that you have in your computer. So now artificial intelligence is run by GPUs. Now the thing is that we are developing our own foundational model, this model, that model, but we don't have enough GPUs. So essentially we are using GPUs of other countries. Now this actually cost a lot of money. They charge you very high prices for this. Okay, because you are trying to make your own foundational model, so they will charge you a lot of money for access to this GPUs. That is why You must have seen like some people are constantly searching for free video generation sources. Okay, free AI video generation. It cannot be free AI video generation. Okay, so it can give you like a 10-second or even smaller 8-second preview, but that also cost money to them. GPUs right now cost a lot of money, and it requires a lot of processing capability to generate a random video that you write about, that a girl is going to school and then she meets her dadaji, whatever. So if you give this prompt to generate that entire thing, just understand, just to generate an image, it requires so much computational ability. You're generating a video, so it requires a lot of energy, computational ability. That's why it cannot be free. Now this is still smaller. If you're trying to develop your own foundational models, it requires lots and lots of computational capability, and for that you have to pay a lot of money. And that is why the government is saying that we want see immediate integration, because it is costing a lot of money, of 20,000 GPUs, and eventually by the year end we want to reach this. Now of course there are many international things that comes into play, that we should be getting the chips, silicons, what we can buy, what we cannot buy, procurement, all those are issues. Okay, now formal allocation of $1.1 billion state backed venture capital fund strictly dedicated to domestic AI startups. Okay, so this is 1.1 billion state backed venture capital. What is difference between why it is written venture capital and not some just prize money or grant like this? Venture capital actually gets you some equity also. Okay, so eventually you are taking part in it, taking a part of it, and then you may be getting money out of it. Okay, then this is mega data center and hardware commitments. Now this is fine. So basically massive infrastructure investments from big tech, Microsoft, Amazon, Google and Adani Group, totaling $200 billion for green energy data centers and subsea cables. So basically what is happening after the H1B visa and all these issues, so these companies, what do you need in a data center? See, data centers are needed, this you understand, because you have to, yes, you have to compute, so you need a lot of data centers. Now what do you need in a data center? What are the essential things you need in a data center? Huh? What do you need? See, one thing that you need is skilled labor. Then you want the skilled labor at cheap cost. Then you want a lot of clean water. This is used in cooling. Okay, and then you need regular power supply. And last is you want it to be connectivity to sea cables. Okay, you know about sea cables that goes across the world. Okay, so from that you will have to connect. Now this explains you why Google is setting such a big data center in Andhra Pradesh and not in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, because they want to connect it there. Now you need clean water. So right now for cooling the systems you need clean water, because you cannot take risk of using this kind of water, that kind of water. So right now they are not focusing on this. Countries like India, who are just waiting for such an opportunity, they will provide clean water somehow, and that's why they will get it here. Now India also provide a lot of skilled labor at a very cheap cost, which is not available in other countries. Okay, now so because of all these reasons, these countries are now coming to India. So they will develop their own data centers in India. For this they will invest a lot of money here. Now, so strategic partnerships between Nvidia, L&T and Utah to construct gigabit AI factories utilizing advanced Blackwell Ultra GPUs. So ultimately there are many partnerships that are going on. That's why all this you need not remember. This also has been totaled here. Just remember this figure. It's just $200 billion. That's it. They have different bifurcation. Like Google, I think, is around $15 billion project. Okay, just sum total is enough.
So what is advanced platform?
This is basically a type of GPU, you can understand. Okay, a type of GPU, much advanced GPUs. Okay, then sectoral governance and public goods. Now this is fine. So this is SAHI. SAHI is what? Strategy for AI in healthcare for India. Now, so a national regulatory framework introduced by Ministry of Health. See, basically, now we will start. So basically, in India AI Impact Summit, India talks about that AI is here. Okay, AI has to be integrated in every part of your life. Now, if it has to be integrated, we need to have systems that ensures that it does not cause any harm. So in the health sector, Ministry of Health has come up with this. So basically it will govern the ethical, secure and transparent deployment of AI diagnostics and administrative tools within clinical environments, so that if there are some issues caused by AI diagnostics, who will be taking responsibility, what should be the chain of command, after AI who should be looking at this, and then eventually treating the patients. So that is SAHI. That's the strategy for AI in healthcare in India. That's it. Then this is both. Both is what? Both is benchmarking open data platform for health AI. Now, the thing is that if we have to develop some health AI, what do you think what might be the issue in health AI? If we are trying to make health AI for the Indian population, what might be the issue? Privacy, yes. So basically, privacy is a major issue. Okay, because you'll be taking health records of all the people and it can cause many issues. Now, what it does, so this board does what? It will anonymize data. Okay, so basically you won't be, or your AI systems won't be getting to know the person exactly, that this is from this particular person from Bangalore. No, nothing like this. It will just have a code that this is some human from here. Okay, and then now this data can be safely analyzed or can be used as a training data, so that we are generating India specific solutions. Okay, without infringing on privacy of the people. Okay, because you do want the data, specific data with respect to Indians, because there are some diseases, there are some pre-genetic dispositions that are found in Indians. Because of that, we are more liable for certain kinds of diseases. For example, we have the highest burden of diabetes. Why? Because we are largely a vegetarian, or even the non-vegetarian in India do what? They eat twice a week. They eat some non-veg. This is what most people are. So these people are also largely vegetarian. Most of their nutrients in a day they get from vegetarian food only. Now, because of that, there are many issues caused. One of them is diabetes. So we have much higher diabetes issues in India. Also, we have had many famines. So if you know about Indian history, so because of the famines, we have developed a system where our body tends to store fat a lot. Okay, so that is also genetic predisposition. So all this you have to understand. That's why you need India specific solutions, but you had to secure the data. So this is what both does. So a privacy preserving sandbox environment developed by IIT Kanpur and the National Health Authority. Sandbox environment is basically trial environment. So right now it is not being deployed, it is just being tested. Then allows developer to train and benchmark medical AI models against anonymized real world public health data. Understood? Same thing. Then this is Bharat Vistar. This is for agriculture. So a multilingual application integrating AI with National Agri Stack. optimizes resource distribution, predictive analysis, advisory services for the agricultural sector. Just as you understood in medicine, you have to develop norms here also. So that is being done by Bharat Vistar. Then you have Bharat Edu AI Stack and Sathi. This is what? This is open digital architecture designed to safely scale personalized AI driven educational resources. So basically what it will do, it will be deployed for school students also, as well as people who are taking coachings. So it will provide tailor made study schedules, and then if they want to learn anything, so it will help them in this. Okay, like you might have used there is a on chat gpt there is one model that says read and learn. Okay, I think they have removed it now. Now they are using chat gpt 5.2 everywhere. So basically it used to be a system where if you upload your document, now you can do with the normal just you open chat gpt, you put whatever document, and then you say that please read this document, understand it fully, I will start asking questions. Then you can just start asking questions, it will start answering. Okay, but please be careful that you are using a better model, not the free model, otherwise sometimes it gives wrong information. Okay, then so aimed at public and private school networks as well as competitive exam preparation. So these are the two, Bharat Vistar and Bharat Edu AI Stack and Sathi. Then geopolitical strategy, this is Manav. Okay, this you might have seen. Okay, Manav. So basically they have given some weird full form. Okay, as they always do. Now ultimately establishes baseline principle for these different domains: for ethics, responsible governance, national sovereignty, inclusivity, and reliability in AI deployment. This is much easier to remember. What they tend to do, let's say they cannot find I here, so they will add an adjective to make Manav, and because of that it becomes very difficult to learn. Nobody is going to ask you the full form. So these are the 5 major things that PM Modi unveiled this, that we have Manav vision. That is, we are going to establish baseline principles for these. Now some details were also given, that ethically how AI should be managed, how we can ensure responsible governance with AI and all those things. Okay, then now Delhi Declaration for Democratic AI. So this is, if you know, through most of these summits and all, they sometimes come up with some important declaration. So this declaration, whatever you learnt about Manav and all these things being released, so this is Delhi Declaration for Democratic AI, a multilateral agreement adopted by over 80 participating nations, establishes a consensus on ethical safeguards, controllable access, and democratic governance of frontier AI systems. Okay. Now, one more thing happened on the sidelines of AI Impact Summit is now that India, Pax Silica, you know, Pax Silica is a initiative by the United States. So basically, they are trying to develop supply chain resilience with respect to AI, silicon, and all those things that are involved here. Now, India wasn't a member. Now, India has now become an official member. So India's official entry into strategic coalition with the United States aims to secure critical mineral supply chains and semiconductor manufacturing capabilities essential for AI hardware sovereignty. Okay, so why it was launched? So basically, US was very concerned about this China, Taiwan. So basically, China is the largest producer of silicon and all these metals that are needed, and Taiwan has a company, yes, TSMC, because of which Taiwan is safe. So basically that company itself produces almost 80% of whatever Taiwan makes. Almost 80% of their GDP or close to it is by that company, and that company is the reason why the world wants to protect Taiwan from China. Okay, so that is a very important company, and now because Taiwan wants to be protected by the world, so it does not allow the company to open centers anywhere else. So there is a whole geopolitics thing that goes on here. Now,
So what's the company?
TSMC.
TSMC.
Yes. So basically what it does, so because of this, US is trying to develop its own this pack silica initiative and will try to make supply chain resilience with respect to these domains. Okay, now ecosystem integration. One thing more US is doing is like can be very catastrophic in the medium term, is they are forcing all their technological giants that you know of, for example Anthropic, OpenAI, all these are US based companies. So their defense, US defense is actually forcing them to give the most advanced models to create some kind of weapons. Mainly there is a term called automated weapons. So they want to make and deploy automated weapons. Automated weapons will be what? Which will be run by artificial intelligence. So that can go anywhere, get deployed. मारोगे किसको? There is no operator. So it will be operated by artificial intelligence and it can destroy anywhere, and you have no solution. Like here, if somebody is bombing at you, you can kill the person. Okay, you can kill the army, you can siege the army, and then the bombing stops. But if it is automated weapons, then it can cause catastrophic effects with no way that you can stop it easily. Okay, so this is automated weapons. Initially, all these companies were opposing it, but of course the US defense is pushing them very hard to give their most advanced models. So this is an issue right now. In the short term, it can be a very major issue, okay, because only US will have it. In the long term, what I feel is every country will start having automated weapons and it will become like a deterrence. Like you have nuclear deterrence now. So then, because no lives are being lost, so if every country start having automated weapons, it will act as a deterrence. But in the short to medium term, it can cause havoc. Anyway, then ecosystem integration and commercial application. So Mastercard agentic commerce. So this they have showcased. So they have done first fully authenticated autonomous agentic commerce transaction. So basically they agentic AI, you understand? Basically there is an agent that can do everything. So I explained you this, that you need human to operate the software and get the output. Now I explained you that now because of certain plugins that are released, now this part was already done by AI. So this entire chain now can be done by AI. Now the AIs that do this are called agentic AIs, which are like agents. This you can also use if you use chat GPT. You can find a agent mode. In agent mode, what you do, you can send a, let's say a PDF, and then you say that in this PDF, or you ask him to make a document, let's say on this topic only, India AI Impact Summit, and then you can keep on giving it instructions. It will show you a page also how it is editing it. You can say that please make the headings highlighted, please make this much more easier to understand. So it will do the editing right in front of you. That is like an agent working for you. Okay, so that is agentic AI. Now using that agentic AI, they have shown first fully authenticated transaction. So they just asked that from this account to this account you have to send money. Everything it figured out on its own, that which portal I should go to, how do I log in, how do I transfer money, and all this. Okay, of course you can't do it because this company, this Mastercard that was allowing that particular artificial intelligence won't allow you. Okay, so this was just a demonstration. Then showcases secure AI to machine financial execution. Then Geo Hotstar and Chat GPT is also integrating, so that if you want to search anything in your own language, it will get converted into English, and that will become your search keyword. So that you are able to find whatever show, match, whatever you are trying to find. Then this is another thing, Bihar remote voting pilot. So basically they showed that we can have AI assisted remote voting also. Okay, then last is, so basically global innovation challenges, the rollout of funding initiatives like Udan, AI for all, and AI by her. These are just name of the initiatives. Incentivizes AI development in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and as well as among the global south. So basically this is about inclusive AI, this, that. Okay, then this is done. Yeah, this is useful. This is conclusion. So basically, now see, in 2023 and 2024, observe this. So this is AI Safety Summit. This is AI Seoul Summit, but see the focus. Focus is on frontier AI, risk and safety. Next, focus is on safety, innovation and inclusivity. Then 2025 AI Action Summit. This is the focus on practical AI implementation and public interest. Okay, so this was the initial ones were mainly about safety. That is how we don't get completely swayed away by AI and this that. Now you can see this. The one that we have just organized is 2026 AI Impact Summit. This was Action Summit, that what can be done, in what way we can get to a AI systems that are useful to us and not destroying us. First was destruction roco. This was that we can have use cases where we use them in a much more better way. Now this is AI Impact Summit. So basically now we are talking about real world AI impact and global south inclusion. These are the two main things that we talked about. Now after this, 2027 one is also being called AI Impact Summit. This is in Geneva, Switzerland. After this, we will have it in UAE in 2028. That will again be called AI Impact Summit only. So now we have passed that stage of safety and then action. Now we are all about impact, impact, impact. And all these impact summits you will see more and more. Now the focus will be continued global governance, multilateral cooperation and all this. So in India, basically when initially, so ChatGPT is 2022 December, okay, the first LLM that we started seeing. So in 2023 it is all about safety and all. Now we have reached the point that in just 3 years AI has grown so much that now it has to be part of everyday life and there is no escaping. So now we have come to India AI Impact Summit. Okay, that's it. Yeah. So just the main names you can remember from this, and these names are useful if you will be giving mains, so you can quote these names. Okay, otherwise what happens if you start quoting, writing like Manav full form and this responsible this that without examples, you won't be fetching much marks. So please remember, try to remember the example for mains, and the other two topics are fine. That's it. Thank you.